So I guess everyone's doing it. We should probably talk about Into the Spider-Verse, right? So the new Sony Pictures animation film, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, has been out for a week now. I tried to get an early screening to it. I tweeted at the Spider-Verse account to be like, hey, I'll do an early review if you give me an early screening, whatever. And they never responded, but they did end up having early screenings right near me, so I got to see it almost a week early. I got to see it the Saturday before it came out. So I've actually had it in my head rattling around for about 2 or 3 weeks now, so that's been crazy. But it's been really crazy to see everyone talking about it and everyone loving it. It's been awesome. Who would have thought that Into the Spider-Verse would be the movie to unite all the movie fans around the entire internet this year? You know, the beginning of the year, it was Paddington 2. The summer, it was Mission Impossible Fallout. Now the winter, it is Into the Spider-Verse, and it's really a movie that everyone's talking about, and I haven't heard any criticism for almost at all as of yet. The hype for this movie is obviously huge. I haven't met a single person who didn't at least like it, and most of the people I've talked to in real life and online have said that it's either their first or second favorite Spider-Man film of all time. So it's doing really well. So needless to say, there's a lot of hype around the movie, and even before I got to see the early screening, there were people who got early screenings and saw it before that, and they were saying it was amazing and whatever, and so I was like, is it gonna be hyped up too much? Should I believe the hype? And, you know, yeah, believe the hype. It's really, 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 really good. I have a couple, like, really minor problems, but other than that, it's great. Like, I was thinking in the shower this morning. Yes, I take showers like humans do. I was thinking, like, man, even if I go digging for problems with this movie, there's really not that much to speak of. It's really so clear that all of the animators and cast and crew and directors and writers gave it their all, and were really passionate about bringing this character of Spider-Man to the screen in the best way possible. It really plays like a love letter to the character, and that's what makes it so great, is you can feel that passion. My only problems with the movie, just to get them out of the way, are that I think there's one emotional beat that doesn't quite work, and that's kind of like the low moment of the movie where Miles, like, gives up and doesn't think he's gonna be a hero or whatever. I thought that was a little phoned in. Whatever, it's a minor part of the film. And then, you know, the movie itself, the plot is very by the books and beat for beat, kind of like a superhero movie usually is. But the thing about that is that it's not even really a flaw, because the movie itself kind of pokes fun at the superhero formula, and so it's constantly making fun of the fact that there's a MacGuffin and the villain plots and you have 24 hours kind of stuff. And so that's what, to me, makes even the something that in another superhero movie would be formulaic and cliche, that's what makes it work, is that it's almost this satire on that. Of course, everyone is talking about the animation as the highlight of the film, and it really is. It's vibrant, it's gorgeous, it's amazing, and it struck me on the second viewing how this is a movie that would not work if it was not animated. You know, like, you have certain animated movies, especially the lazier ones, that are just animated because, you know, it'll appeal to kids more and don't have to be animated. They don't really use the format to the max, but with this, it makes you go, man, why didn't we realize before that Spider-Man is a character who works best in animation? You know, you've got little touches like the fact that, like, his eyes can squint and close and everything, which wouldn't happen in live action. You know, like, we have the Homecoming suit, which does have the lens eyes that can get bigger and smaller or whatever, but here you've got complete animation with the eyes, and that really helps with the expressiveness of the character, and that's just one of the many things that is only possible through the animation in this film, and that's what makes it so suited to the format for the character. But I also feel like this movie is more than just a visual feast, and it is a visual feast, and it's got these beautiful poppy comic booky visuals and vibrance to it, and the action scenes look amazing, but it's also the most startlingly naturalistic I've seen animation get since, like, 2004 with The Incredibles, you know? Especially in the more grounded first half of the film, where we're setting up Miles' world and his school and his uncle and his family and home and everything, and New York, and seeing Brooklyn and everything. It really gives the impression that you're seeing the best of both worlds, in a sense, where you're getting the poppy visuals of animation, you're getting this stylization and comic book panels and everything, and it's awesome, and so you're really milking that format to the max. But at the same time, this animation itself also has the sophisticated editing and cinematography and camera movement and acting and everything that a live action film would. It simultaneously feels like the most animated film of all time, so all in on the animation, but also the least animated, where it doesn't feel like it's restrained by the fact that it's an animated movie. It feels very authentic. The way the camera moves through this rich world and sees every detail and everything almost reminded me of Alfonso Cuarón in a weird way, and that may have been just because I saw his film Roma in theaters recently as well. And then I was reading a interview with the animators of the movie, and they were talking about how Alfonso Cuarón was one of their biggest influences in terms of the camera movement and the world building. Naturalism in animation is such a hard thing to achieve because animation by definition is planned so heavily in advance and storyboarded, and every minute detail is planned out so far ahead. With the fact that I say this movie feels naturalistic in its animation style is a big statement, because that means that they managed to storyboard it in a way that is planned to then feel like it's not planned. You really feel when you're seeing the camera move around Miles's neighborhood and see him and his friends and everything in the world, you feel like it is a real camera operator who is able to make spontaneous decisions on the fly. You don't feel like it's a computer being ordered to do certain movements with a digital fake camera in an animated world. It feels like a real world with a real camera operator who is really filming things. Just the way that New York is constructed in the film made me really happy, because it feels very worn and lived in and authentic, like the real thing. It feels like real New York and not like a shiny cartoon dumbed down version of New York. And the camera moves within that world and highlights things without calling attention to itself. And this is a tiny thing, but even some of the faces that the characters would make left me shocked, because once again, we're watching a cartoon, but I was going, wow, this is impressive, the level of expressiveness and emoting that is coming from these animated characters, and they were making facial expressions that I have never seen animated characters make before, but I have seen real people make those facial expressions before. I feel like every day I'm learning something new that impresses me about the animation in this movie. The animators are all really active on Twitter, and they keep sharing behind the scenes things about the making of the movie. You should go follow them all. But they keep, talking about these crazy little tidbits and the things they had to do to work around things, and it's amazing. We've got all these, and people have said this before, but all these different styles of animation all blended together with the anime style and the normal Spider-Verse style and the black and white and the Looney Tunes, and it's amazing that that works. That's again a testament of something that could not be done in live action. The composer of the score, Daniel Pemberton, is also on Twitter, and he's been sharing a ton of behind the scenes things of how they did the score, which keep impressing me. He talks about how there's the sound of a spray can is used for part of Miles's theme, and the roaring, screeching sound that the Prowler makes when he's on screen is actually an elephant noise distorted. I actually didn't notice the score of the movie the first time that I saw it. I wasn't that impressed, but then after I went home and listened to it on my own and then went back and saw the movie, I've fallen in love with the score for the film. It's got a lot of great motifs that recur and are often changed for specific characters, where we have Chris Pine's Spider-Man musical motif, and then Miles's motif is his motif, but different, and with record scratches and the spray can sound and everything, and that's super cool. There are also so many clever jokes in this movie. I've seen it twice, and I feel like there's still tons that I am forgetting about and that I'll always then notice the fourth and fifth time that I watch it. And the last time that I can remember having a movie like that with that much comedic rewatchability was maybe Baby Driver or The Lego Movie, which was another Lord and Miller film. I really hope that this movie awakens the public to everything that animation can do. We've had certain movies over the years that are just huge leaps for their format of media. You have something like Avatar, which totally changed the game in terms of VFX, and to me, this is almost like Avatar for animation, where this should totally change the game for what an animated movie can do. I saw Aquaman last night, and it was fine. It was not anything special, but not anything terrible either. It was pretty fun. But I was thinking the whole time, especially after just having seen Spider-Verse again, that this would work so much better in animation. They're trying to translate these crazy, fantastical Atlantean things to the big screen in live action, and honestly, it would be so much easier and more vibrant and more easy to swallow if you did it in animation. And that would be what my dream scenario would be for DC to stop doing live action films altogether and to just do animated movies in the same level of quality as Spider-Verse. This movie in particular is also very universal. I have yet to see anyone who didn't like it, Spider-Man fan or not. And I was also talking to a friend of mine who's a dad recently, and he said that he was very glad that the movie it didn't have any content to it. It was a movie that any kid could watch. There was no sex, no crazy violence, no language, but at the same time, it didn't feel dumbed down for kids. It felt like there were still stakes, and it didn't feel like a sanitized world. It felt like the real world, and that was such a great description. Again, it made me think of The Incredibles, which is another movie that any kid can watch, but it doesn't feel like a kid's movie. It feels like an adult movie that just happens to be able to be viewed by kids. So yeah, that's pretty much the movie. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I should say? I really like the soundtrack, and I like that there is inclusion of hip-hop in the movie. I've heard some people say that the songs are gonna date the movie or something, or that some of them are cheesy and don't make sense in the narrative, whatever. I've really liked all the choices, and I thought they all complemented the film really well. Additionally, it is amazing that they are releasing the Spidey Bells very Spidey Christmas album with Chris Pine singing about how he has a degree in chemical engineering and everything. That's awesome. But yeah, I debated doing a video about this because I really want to do a longer video where I analyze the animation and analyze what makes it so naturalistic once all the footage is online and it's on Blu-ray and everything. So I think I will, like once it drops maybe in March, I don't know when it's going to come out. I'll probably do a full-length, 20-minute video or whatever and literally just break down what makes it so naturalistic and authentic and what makes this such a special animated film, even beyond the poppy comic book stuff, what makes it feel like there's real emotion behind it. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. You can go follow me on Twitter at @BlockbustedPod. I've been tweeting a lot about the movie, and support me on Patreon at I don't know what the link is, just click up there. I'm working on a couple last big videos before the end of the year and hopefully finishing my short film finally to have that release, I don't know, maybe in January. So I'm gonna go get to work on that, and thanks for watching. Merry Christmas, and I will see you later. Go see Into the Spider-Verse if you haven't, it's amazing. All right, bye.